time to recuperate a little bit and also, of course, to practice a little bit more. But right now, they have to show their skills on Tomb of the Spider Queen. If they don't, they would start with a very, very rocky... I'm trying to avoid the word start, but I can't really. So yeah, it would be a really rocky start.
Beginning.
A rocky beginning.
Got you.
Rocky opening to Phase 2 Part 2.
All right, well, we'll see. If we can even get a game number 5, that's another reason why we need Dignitas to win. Who cares about BlizzCon? It's about the best of 5 series here, so we'll see what can happen as Dignitas will have the first ban of the game.
Seriously, think about how insane it would be if the Ducks actually win this right now. Think about the position that all of a sudden we would be in the league. Dignitas, all of a sudden in serious danger of not making it to BlizzCon already after we just came back into Part 2, and the Ducks making a massive leap in the standings. Like, that situation alone would be crazy for our standings.
Which things up for sure. Our standings will be flipped upside down, right? Like, remember, it's a 4-3 that we have a 4-way tie-in, or had a 4-1 tie-in, and we now have a 5-3 as Trick won this morning. But still, that means playing Ducks can make strides forward.
I mean, even if Dignitas wins now 2 in a row and takes the match, that already hurts them because they just lost 2 maps for their match score. That's not really good. But still, losing this series would be a nightmare for them. So right now, let's see how this pans out. We have Tacita being banned, first of all, and then we also see a ban on Chromie coming in to play again. Tomb of the Spider Queen, one of the best maps for Chromie. Also, the Ducks don't want to get too excited here. So. Dude, you're going to hear that a lot.
Dignitas working on their first pick now.
It's your own fault.
It is interesting that they believe that Chromie is first ban worthy, though. You would think that would come to the second phase.
They are nearly as excited about Chromie as you are.
I'm done, dude. It's over. Listen, we're going to delete that from the internet. It's going away.
Yeah, because...
It's not going to be a thing, dude.
I think Reddit has you covered on that point.
Oh, I love being on Reddit. It's my favorite thing to look at. No, it's not. All right.
You brought that on yourself. I don't know what to tell you.
Do we see Mana on Oriole, though? She is opened up. It's good for Spider Queen. It seems like, no, Oriole's fallen in priority for a lot of these teams. Uther gets picked up.
I mean, first of all, I like the Uther pick. So what we're already seeing is, what did the Ducks do in the past 2 games? They focused heavily on stuns, and they played around Tyrande. This is one of the best maps for stun chains, because you're trying to dominate rotations between 2 lanes with a 4-man setup that is very aggressive with stuns and kill potential. Usually you try to make that happen around Uther, so Dignitas taking Uther away is already eliminating part of that. Doesn't mean that the Ducks can't do it, but it's going to make things a little bit harder. They could still, for example, spec into a double support Tyrande composition with ETC as a tank and would then run those double stuns. But it definitely forces them now to adapt their own drafting a little bit. And one of the things that they have to think about now is Genji, because with Uther being available for Dignitas, they would like to go into Genji and Uther again, since they have been prioritizing Genji a lot. So for the Ducks, the question is, do we somehow deal with Genji, or do we pick him for ourselves, which would probably put Sportbilly into that position, but he also likes to play Medivh for them here.
Well, they were thinking about it, and they decided, here is our choice. It's going to be the Lenara into the Oriole. Now, Lenara is not one that we've seen today, but we know her strengths against a Uther, being able to stress him out in healing. This kind of forces your opponent to go into a second healer, and in fact, they do. Uther, Rhaegar, and Tracer.
Yeah, so instead of running Tracer with a Tacita as the second support and adding more utility, they add a lot more heal to it with Uther, Rhaegar, and Tracer now still being played. And that, of course, changes the game here a little bit, because now the Ducks have also to think about, hey, how do we counter this? Stuns, again, are absolutely perfect here, but it makes Tyrande a lot less attractive for them, especially with what they've already picked. So right now, they can still go into potential variant play against Tracer. ETC would also be really good. Just some kind of stun and lockdown for them would be really solid. And yeah, I mean, I like that. I like that Dignitas is now committing to something, but it also puts more or less all of their eggs into the Tracer basket here.
Yep, make sure that the early game goes well for them if they're able to get their movements in going for those aggressive plays that will be popping out. JPL on this battleground, I feel like Stitches is still a very solid pickup, but they're electing to think about the Gul'dan ban or even the Zul here, deciding that they're a little bit more afraid of wave clear here instead of actual any mages that can come in for Mane, so they ban out the Zul instead.
I'm really excited for the Ducks' draft now. I want to see what else going to complement this with. Especially the bot laners are currently something that I am extremely curious about. So Medivh is banned. As we just said, Sport Billy on Medivh is usually pretty sweet and solid. That's why Medivh is also banned out here. He normally has a huge impact on the map. The hero itself, of course, is strong here too. So there's a couple of reasons why you want to ban him out. Genji is still open. Could still be picked. Frontline is something that I really want to see. For me, really, the frontliner currently is something that I want to pay attention to, and also what's played for the bot lane. For Sport Billy, I could still see him on a variety of heroes. Even if they are trying to go into a double support, the Tassadar comes to mind again.
Are we going to see the Nubrak once again? It's helpful against that pulse bomb, or do we see something a little bit more robust, gives us wave clear? Or do we see Johanna there from Nande?
I'm still really thinking about ETC potentially.
Yeah? Have we seen Nande on ETC?
A bit, yeah.
The stage dive one earlier.
Yeah.
And that was
I mean,
about it.
there's definitely a variety of options that you still have, and it depends a little bit on who you want to have as your bot laner too. Do you play with the aggressive comp? There's a Brightwing, okay, so Brightwing and a Nubarak. Brightwing, instead of having a Tassadar in, so you still want to go for a double support here. So instead of going for Tassadar for shields, they have Brightwing, who gives healing power, but at the same time also allows you to drop a polymorph on Tracer. So that's already going to be important. And Johanna for JPL, which adds wave clear to Dignitas. They have already a bit of that on the side of Rhaegar, but Johanna is going to make this a bit easier for them.
Now we're looking for that bottom laner for Zelia to run. Malthael we've seen in the past from him. We see a lot of Dahaka when it's available, and Dahaka is available even on Tomb of the Spider Queen. We've seen him pick it up.
That's actually great on the map. There's so many brushes where you can get the extra speed and where you can tunnel in. So Dahaka can be quite strong here. Malthael, Sonya, Leoric,
Arthas.
Shen is often being played here. Arthas, as you said, this is also a solid option for them. So there's quite a bit that they can play here, but a bit more damage would probably not be bad since...
KT.
Ooh. Okay, we have Zelia on one of the supports, and Mena this time on Kel'Thuz. Bringing the flames. Let's see how the Ducks react to that.
I guess you're just going for some stuns. Have Condemn move into a stun into a KT Gravity Blast, but there's a lot of range in the opposing team. Typically, you want KT in scenarios where you can get people grouped up pretty heavily. I guess Brightwing does kind of put themselves in a position where they do group up, but still, playing Ducks should be able to play around this.
Unless you're Mena and you're an absolute god on the hero
That's
that
true.
destroys people with his left pinky.
That's always a factor.
Kel'Thuz was actually the first hero where Mena really made an impression in the pro scene when he was back then picked up by the old Fnatic squad with LoL and all of those boys. And LoL brought Mena into the hero scene. Mena was a player in World of Warcraft and was dabbling in the competitive scene over there. And then LoL brought him over, and one of the first heroes that Mena actually played and excelled at was Kel'Thuz. He was the one that really just dominated on the hero to an extent where it was absolutely ridiculous. And that was, of course, like way back when. I think it was 2015, early 2015.
So far back in the day.
In esports times, that is ancient.
Yeah.
So,
Two esports years are equivalent to like 9 years. It's like dog years.
It's a little bit like dog years. Yeah, not
yeah.
quite the same, but just, yeah, done.
Well, speaking of dogs, Greyman gets picked up for the 5th pickup here for the playing Ducks. So they do have lockdown. They have decent late game too. They have double support with that Brightwing being able to handle an engage that might be coming their way. And they have that polymorph, which is helpful against Tracer. But at the same time, Dignitas has their own double support. So it all comes down to finding that one moment where you're able to get the kill.
And this is rough for Dignitas. Still, Dignitas is behind. Dignitas is currently the team that is a map behind, which in itself is already crazy. So map number 4, Dignitas is going to try and, of course, force the 5th map out of their opponent. But so far, the Ducks have looked pretty solid, and they have a double support composition with Lunara right now. So that has always been extremely scary. Double support or not double support.
Yeah, luckily they do have that Rhaegar, which is again helpful in the sustain on Uther's there for those clutch moments where you gotta bring up the heals. But again, Lunara has always been a major threat. A level 7 talent, Splinter Spear, is almost too good to the point where I almost question why it's still in the game. You're able to get a Q off and get 4 auto attacks on multiple people and drop a W. That's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Well, it's time. Game number 4. Can we get the series tied up, or the playing Ducks earn another victory? Let's move into it. Tomb of the Spider Queen.
The game is on, boys and girls, and we have to the left the Ducks once again in blue with Wolfjo on Oriel, Sport Billy on Brightwing, and Nanda on Nubarak as so often. Chris this time on Lunara, playing Bambi here with Eternal jumping on the Grey Main.
On the right side, in the red, it's going to be Dignitas' Mayonnaise playing Kelthos, Bakery on Uther, Zillia on Rhaegar, Snitch on Tracer, and JPL playing Johanna.
All right, Dignitas. They have to show up right now or they will fall victim to the Ducks. At this point, we are having Brightwing going on level 1 straight into Bribe, the Pixie Charm taken.
Wow. Intending to stay near that Lunara as much as possible would appear. And hang on, those kills I was talking about, you're going to have to get them at some point. And Anubarak doesn't even get a chance to move as Dignitas puts him underground.
Get wrecked, son. Like, no mercy whatsoever. Taken down immediately. One Stunlock after another, and already setting pretty much the pace of the game here.
Yeah. Anubarak taking it there, man, as Tracer taking damage to the side. Eternal goes in for the engage. Zillia as well be on the bottom side with those heals. Playing Ducks. Need to find the momentum back here once again. As Team Dignitas already has a nice lead due to that kill in terms of moving on the map. They've pushed in 2 waves already.
Yeah, I mean, right now, this is really... This is a game that for Dignitas just means a lot. They were extremely confident heading into the series, and they were expecting a much easier ride than what they got so far, and losing 2 maps already is a problem for them. If they would lose the series, that would be an absolute disaster for the standings. So right now, Dignitas feels the pressure, and they are reacting with massive aggression in the early game, and so they should. They definitely need to start and dictate the pace of the game early on, or they risk losing the match against the playing Ducks, which, again, would be horrible for their plans to qualify for BlizzCon.
No, I mean, let's go ahead and talk about talents here. Hang on real quick, as JPL might be pushing a little bit too far. Detainment Strike into a wall. Nande also dropping down the Impale, but JPL able to get away. Looking at KT, picking up that Mana Addict at level 1. A lot of people question, when do we pick up Convection? Caldor, when do you pick up Convection if you're a KT player?
When you play Quick Match.
There you go. Or, if you are a Breakfast Holdout, then get stacks, but...
No, there's no or.
For the most part, Convection is one of those those talents that take away the possibility of what you want to do with KT, which is Wave Flare. Hang on, it's more ability than trouble on the bottom. Oh, it gets picked there.
Nice.
Isn't me taken out. But you want to use that Flame Strike for clearing out waves so your Tracer can go to Hamtown, destroy things.
I mean, to put that in perspective and just put the jokes aside for a second, picking up Convection on KT in any kind of competitive setup, being it even just Hero League, but also in the amateur scene, or if you play in the Pro League, is an absolute fringe scenario. So normally it's really all about going for the Mana Addict here. It's just a talent that offers you so much more, especially since you're going to be a target throughout the entire game. And having that extra shield is incredibly powerful. But also, if you go for Convection, you make yourself a priority target for the opponent, and if at any point they take you down, you will never really get any value for your team, and you will just stay vulnerable throughout the entire game. So I know that it's tempting, especially when you're a little bit less experienced and play on a little bit of a lower level, to say, hey, but it's so much damage, look at what I can do when I actually get the quest talent completed. But the risk is absolutely not worth it, and especially on the pro level, I can't really remember when I've ever seen a Convection game when there were 2 evenly matched teams facing each other.
Very, very difficult to pull off. That is for sure here. And look at Mana, what he's able to do now because he hasn't picked up that talent. He's been clearing out these waves, working on the regen globes, following up JPL's movements on the Condemn. They keep clearing out. JPL now has 30 gems because of that. If you were hunting and looking for those Convection stats, you wouldn't be able to do that. And now, later on, he'll be able to have this moment where if an engage comes his way, he's able to live because he gets a shield. Yeah. All right, so we're done. We talked about 4 levels about Convection versus every other talent at level 1.
It's important, though.
It is important.
It's really one of the things that tempts a lot of people, and Mana Addict, why it is so advantageous, is something that we need to point out here. But, I mean, as you said, at this point, we're heading into level 7, and both of the teams have done a solid job. We've seen 3 kills so far. But if you look at the turn-ins, that's really where the Ducks so far did a fantastic job. And that damage output against Snitch is, of course, forcing him back even more. But this is, again, about potential momentum that you want to build. And that's where you have to try and get the first turn-in of the game.
And they're working on it already. 37 out of the 50, 13 more needed for the playing Ducks, and they have 22 on hand, so they can get that turn-in if they can find a kill. But Dignitas finds a kill of their own. In fact, they're looking for a second. Here comes Snitch, parting gift, and there's a kill.
Yeah, Snitch is just completely abusing Tracer at this point and that mobility, and this is of course what you're afraid of if you're facing a Tracer composition. And that allows now Dignitas to turn in. They have a lot of freedom to simply move into the turn-in point and starting with the completion of the first wave, and that's exactly what happens. So Ducks all of a sudden find themselves on the back foot. They turned in 34 gems really early, but thanks to those 2 kills, Dignitas is the team to complete the turn-in and get the first objective.
2 kills, get the quick turn-in, and Dignitas will be looking for those turrets, and this should give them a pretty substantial lead, especially with those kills. Can beeline straight for level 9. Playing Ducks doing everything they can to slow that down. Looking for a kill on Snitch, but he's able to continue with that mobility, even with Polymorph coming in, staying alive. Azalea has his back with the heals.
Yeah, Snitch is definitely the one where a lot of responsibility rests on his shoulders in this game now. So they're getting their Rhaegar, on the other hand, gets blown apart, and that's an issue. If Sportwheeler can be taken down, though, that would be a nice counter kill, but that doesn't quite happen. Oh, that was close. That web wave nearly took him apart. That was a close call there. Too close for comfort.
Oh, a little bit close there. He did dodge out in the gravity lapse, though, which would have made sure that he did get picked off. Playing Ducks now is set up on the bottom here to go ahead and clear the wave if they can. Dignitas, though, making moves and pushing for the 4. In fact, a big living bomb hitting here as Manning gets a spread all around. Wolfjo comes out with a heal, and this should be the moment for the Playing Ducks. If they want to move in, they go in. They do. They're going to hit JPL. He gets pulled on back while Lenark, they're at the top lane.
I'm actually... What is this? Spread the damage, or what are the Ducks doing right now?
It's a mini game, man. You get the heal numbers padded for Wolfjo because he heals it up afterwards.
Yeah, I guess so. So there's a few things. I'm actually really impressed how Dignitas was able to get this much value out of that first turning, considering that it started with Rhaegar being taken down. And now we have Dignitas with a massive lead in experience, an entire level. They are very likely to drop that 4 down here extremely soon, and they have the early level 10 ability, so that might result in the double turn-in, the infamous double turn-in that we have so often. But Dignitas really impressed with this. Losing Rhaegar and then still being able to do this much damage? Not bad.
Not too shabby. Part of it's because they got Brightwing so low that effectively she kind of was out of the fight. And they did hit 10 too. They're about to hit 11 already. Playing Ducks are just doing their best to find something on the field here. Want to get their own level 10 and of course be able to start answering back their opponents as they have 55 gems sitting on them. They definitely want to try and drop those off before getting into another fight.
Yeah, they would love to get the next turn in here, and they need to try and make that happen. They should have level 10 any second, and now we have it.
There it is.
So this is the moment to really make a bit of an approach and get their turn in. If Dignitas gets now the next turn in, that would be a problem for the Ducks. So the Ducks have to be a little bit more out there. They have to be a little bit more aggressive with this. And Chris is already with the Thornwood Vines, just constantly poking away.
Chris trying to turn in. Ooh, the instant polymorph. Snitch gets focused down. JPL coming on the left side. Nande is in trouble. Uses Cocoon. Also, Age is being utilized. Will drop the bed of barbs, and Chris just goes for the turn-in. He's trying to get the web weavers again. Can they get it? They do. Now it's all about running away.
Yeah, they have to try and get out of this one, but they should be able to make that work. Whoa, nice lockdowns against Sportbilly, and apparently the cooldown wasn't... I could have sworn he was off cooldown on his Blink healer, but apparently that wasn't the case. So he goes down, and the chase just continues as Dignitas, wow, with that flank on JPL, dives deep and tries to get a second kill, and it looks like it's going to happen. Yep, that's the end of Oriel. And that is taking a lot of the pressure away that the web weavers were supposed to push onto the lanes.
Big totem and big flank there from JPL, bringing out the Condemn. Nande's trying to stop the rotations to the middle and the top. He wants to be able to get these web weavers to at least the wall. But Bakery and JPL are already here for the defense. Playing Ducks will take the opportunity to try and dive. Tracy here on the right side. But with Zelia bringing out that cleanse, he's able to get away.
And overall, also, it's not only Tracer, but Mene currently is doing a fantastic job with that Kel'Thas. Every gravity lapse that he throws out there, he's getting value. And also with the living bombs, he's just doing so much to disrupt the flow of the game for the Ducks. So the Ducks, they get that turn in and they get some value out of it. Not nearly as much as they were hoping for. They destroy at least a few towers, and that helps them to close that experience gap. But it's not taking anything away from Dignitas hitting level 13 fast.
Nande's in the front line here. We do have Cocoon and the Ages up and available for the Ducks. They had to be careful though. Johanna was in the top. They saw that though because Chris was able to use the Wisp. Same time, we'll be able to grab the Giants, keep up with the pressure, but 13 about to hit for Dignitas. So Dignitas is going to be in a spot where they can force a turn in, and they do pretty easily as JPL drops off some gems. And here's another push coming on in.
This is where it becomes dangerous. The level 13 talent gives Dignitas already an advantage, and then on the back of it, you also push with the Web Weavers. So you can really start and dive in deep, especially when those Web Weavers are hitting fort range. Then you can try and dive the heroes in the back with that extra talent that you have. It just gives you so much utility here with the wave clear that you have additionally on Johanna, and also, of course, the rest of the setup, with especially Rega now having the Earthen Shield, which can really buy you that 1 second that you need to activate the Ancestral on the hero.
Playing Ducks are flirting with the idea of maybe going for a fight. They do see Tracer on the bottom, so while they don't have the talent advantage, they do have a number advantage, especially if Nade can get the cocoon off and they can blow somebody up. But Mania is playing so safe, especially with Zilly on that top right corner, that opportunity never presented itself.
When we're talking about these talents, like, keep in mind, look for example at how Bakery currently uses the Lightning Shield. He uses it very rarely, so it's you play around the cooldown. You don't just simply throw it out the entire time whenever. If your team is approaching a team fight, you oftentimes want to wait, maybe throw the first one out, but hold the next one back so that you can, for example, save one. You see someone focus down on the opponent's side, that's when you drop on that target the Earthen Shield with a 13, and then right after that, or at the Ancestral first and then the Earth Shield. Just like you try to hold the cooldown back to use the buffer so that your Ancestral goes through. So it's really a lot of these fights on the pro level are playing around certain cooldowns where you just don't simply spam your spells out just because you have them.
Yeah, it's a moment ability. It's not something that you just spam out. Yeah, totally agree. Drop that to 13, move in, get the Ancestral healing off. Ducks! Now grabbing Mercenary Camps, did deal with the Web Weavers, still have their keeps up, Nande coming in. Going to be seeing an opportunity possibly to move in for the fight, but with Mayday being on a mount, pulling on back. They're trying to force a fight. They know they want to move in before 16. They find Uther, drop the Impale, but JPL steps up.
Yeah, once again, a nice taste. That was a good one. It was really important here. Great play. Nanda safe for now. Also trying to move out, but still dropped. No, he gets away. Ice Block being used by Brightwing, but the Ducks are in full retreat right now as Dignitas is attempting to move in. Eternal with a turnaround approach, going straight for Snitch, but the double support is just too much. Divine Shield and Ancestor dropped on Snitch, and now Tracer is in full chase mode.
Incredible Divine Shield there to stop Eternal from getting off that go for the throat that would have killed Tracer. Team Dignitas keeping up with the chase, looking very healthy. Eternal does turn around, but the double supports are really starting to kick in here. Playing Ducks are hoping to chase back. Zalia's low on health, able to run away as a wolf, but JPL does get hit. He'll drop the Iron Skin, barely gets away, but that was so back and forth.
This is getting ridiculous. Both sides here just keeping everyone alive and then always on the chase attempting a turnaround, with Greymane in particular just trying to explode on these targets as they're going in a little bit too deep. But especially the combo with Uther and Rega is making it so difficult for the Ducks to find any kills, since both of them have their panic buttons ready. Good stun to stop Sportbilly from getting onto the point, but this fight is trouble. Ice Block being used to dodge a lot of the damage, but they are not done yet. Dignitas saving Zelia on Rega here. Eternal finds himself very deep, and Snitch is now trying to capitalize on it. He tries to go for the kill against Oriel, but he's the one that gets stunned and taken out, and all of a sudden the rest of the team finds themselves in trouble too.
I can't believe Playing Ducks actually went into that choke and fought a Kel'Thas in a small circle with Flame Strike and Phoenix, and they get away with a kill.
Yeah.
The Ducks now have Web Weavers. They're pushing into the middle, looking towards a Fault, and they have all the Web Weavers on all 3 forts right now.
And it was the perfect kill. You kill Tracer. That's the one target you need to take out to be safer when you push in. And this is going to be 3 forts. The fort in the mid lane already about to die. The one at the bot lane has been eliminated by the Web Weavers. And up at the top lane, this one is down too. So they took 3 forts out with that thing. And all of a sudden, just look how fast they closed that gap in experience. Just a minute before, they were 2 levels behind. Now they're knocking on 16.
Map is opened up pretty aggressively here for both of our teams. The Web Weaver in the bottom will finally get cleared up, but Playing Ducks taking this opportunity to head back on home and get healed. Wisp will go straight towards the boss as well, and now we got a bit of a game on our hands as Playing Ducks are about to hit 16. And remember, that 13 and 16 power spike, great for Lenara and Greymane.
That level 13 talent in particular, I think, helped the Ducks so much. The greater spell shield of Lenara, first of all, really keeps her alive a lot longer. And also, I cannot understate this, Ice Block for Brightwing has been crazy so far. The way that Sportbilly was able to dodge so much damage was awesome. But right now, again, Dignitas approaching. They're trying to go in for a Nubarak, but with the power of Oriel and the rest of the team, they keep Anubarak alive. The Beetle is still in play.
Dignitas just used 5 abilities to try and lock down Nande, and the Aegis was, of course, helpful, but overall, Dignitas has to walk away because they used Benediction. Nande's going to come in for the engage. Burrow Charge does connect. Wolf just on the side, bringing out the heals of Thurnal, helping out with the choke. You don't want to push too far into there. Again, the same thing we talked about with Keldos in the bottom right corner. He's great around chokes because of that Flame Strike, because of that Living Bomb, and they're going to have to pull away. But here's the news. With multiple abilities getting used on that bottom side, Dignitas is going to have to go clear up, and playing Ducks move in and grab a boss.
And also, I want to just quickly highlight Chris here. I mean, he's going boss mode with his positioning. He didn't die once in the entire game, and he's always providing Oriel with all the hope that she needs for the heals here. So he is doing a fantastic job around this. Boss at the top lane is now going to be grabbed, but the turn-in for Dignitas has happened in the meantime. And Chris is also helping so much with the poke and the slow, so that the rest of the team can try and grab onto a target. JPL has been victim of that more than once.
Well, Dignitas gets the turn in, but Ducks get the boss. The boss will push in the top right corner, and Dignitas is going to do their best to clear it out. But this leaves the playing Ducks in a spot where they can clear easily the middle lane, easily the top lane, and the bottom lane when it gets to them. So we effectively have a trade in terms of objective for our teams, but Dignitas loses out on it because they give up their gems.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, at this point, basically, they traded for the easier boss defense. And the Web Weavers are still going to get some value. It shifts some of the momentum on the map, so Dignitas gains more control of the map overall since their lanes are being pushed out a bit more. But of course, a lot of the momentum that they were hoping to achieve with a turn-in has been negated. At this point, it's about that top lane. And that Web Weaver is actually still pretty healthy. But the poke from Chris is still quite strong. But there is so much damage potential. The KT in particular is doing so much work here.
He keeps on sieging up. That 16 coming in, that Fury and the Sunwell. If Flame Strike ever connects, it's going to go for a second one as well. And they're going to be able to try and get more damage. And people usually forget about that second one coming in. Tracer will be engaged upon. It's going to be a Divine Shield. And a Nubarak is going to be forced down. We'll have a Pulse Bomb hit a Thurnal, but Nande lives on through it.
It was a really early Divine Shield, and that will force Dignitas back a little bit faster. That bot lane pressure is not really too harsh just yet. Should be easily able to burst that down, but the keep is actually taking a lot more damage than I expected. Oh my god.
Jeez, that was a lot of minions just getting there at the right time there, and that keep almost falls. It still stands, but that's something you can grab later on. Dignitas pulls them back. They do still have a lead here, 18 to 17 and a half. They're almost 19 actually. So Dignitas can play safe here and work towards level 20.
The Ducks have a turn-in. If they are able to get the rest turned in, they have a turn-in available, and they need to kind of find now because they know that Dignitas still is going to hit the level 20 faster. But these fights have been so incredibly close, and when you look at the kill count, then Dignitas still has the upper hand, 6 against 3. So that is a concern for sure on the side of the Ducks now. It's a rough game, and once 20 hits, it's going to be hard for the playing Ducks because that little advantage that Dignitas has, we've seen earlier already what they do when they have a slight advantage. They are massive at capitalizing on those.
Well, playing Ducks have some time here. They're trying to work on some turn-ins. They do get 46 gems dropped off. They need 14 more, which is available on a Thurnal. A Thurnal working on it, but the flashlight comes out. Nande's low on health. He needs a heal.
They move out, but they didn't drop ults on him just yet. Right wing goes down though, and that's the problem. Not even an ice block there, and now Nande falls, and this is where they are completely getting destroyed. This is when everything falls apart. Dignitas knows that they have the opportunity now to maybe even end the game. They go for Greymane. He's dead. That's 3 kills in a row. They're closing in on 20. They want Wolf Joe, but he barely gets on his little Billy pony thingy and goes away.
The keep low and healthy on the bottom left. Dignitas with all 5 members, you're right, are moving straight towards the core. Wolf Joe and crew are going to do their best for defense. They're focused down Bakery as much as they can here, trying to get him low on health. They want to come around and try to look towards Manny, but Manny are on the backside. Snitch hitting the core. The shields have already been burned through. It's dropping down to 70. It's dropping down to 60. It's looking like it's going to be game here, and Dignitas is going to tie up this series against the playing Ducks with a 2-2 score.
GG as Dignitas takes it, and we have a 5th game on our hands.
That we do.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty excited for it, man. A good game overall. That one breaking moment against double support hit there for Dignitas, and they were able to move.